Hello, today is Friday, July 11th, and welcome to episode 475 of Fault Lines, the National Security Institute's podcast that gets you quickly up to speed 3 times a week on the national security and foreign policy debates shaking up America. I'm NSI Senior Fellow Morgan Vina. I'm joined today by NSI Senior Fellow Bishop Garrison, Fellow Jessica Jones, and Visiting Fellow Elgene Sajeri. Y'all, the Houthis are back. Despite a May ceasefire deal with the United States, the Iranian-backed Houthis are ramping up their attacks against vessels in the Red Sea, threatening freedom of navigation and commercial shipping. Earlier this week, a Liberian-flagged Greek-operated cargo ship was carrying 25 crew and it was hit by a rocket-propelled grenade fired from small boats. The Houthis claimed responsibility, saying they attacked the ship because it was heading to Israel. They also had kidnapped crew members who were mostly from the Philippines. This is the second vessel the Houthis have sunk in a week. Since November 2023, the Houthis have targeted around 70 merchant ships with vessels, drones, and small boat attacks in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. The Houthis claimed they are acting in support of the Palestinians in the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza, and have falsely claimed that they are targeting ships only linked to Israel, the United States, or the United Kingdom, which have carried out strikes against Yemen in response. All right, fam, what gives here? Bishop, we've had several months of calm, and now the Houthis are back at it. Why are they doing this?
Well, yeah, I think it's a couple of potential reasons why. I kind of mentioned in the green room when we were chatting here. First, they're going to link everything back to Israel. They're going to say that, this isn't actually a violation of any type of a ceasefire or peace treaty because we are connecting it back to the ongoing conflict and ongoing aggression there. But now the U.S. in this time period has also directly attacked Iran. We've launched attacks on or drop bombs on 3 different nuclear sites. So given that they have a direct backing from Iran, that could be a part of it. Maybe we knew that we were going to get some level of response from a variety of state and non-state actors potentially after doing that. So this could be a part of it. Another part of it is they're very desperate people. You're looking at individuals that are living in poverty that really don't have any other aspects of how they're going to be able to gain resources and provide. So I think they're taking on some desperate measures here. Now, whether or not we think that's going to ultimately work out for them is a completely different situation. And I think the U.S. and its allies are going to really have to look deeply at this issue to determine how we're going to actually impact it. When groups like this are desperate, they're not going to be rational actors. So how do you go about trying to get them to become rational in some aspect?
Okay. So, Elgene, these attacks are significantly impacting global trade. They're increasing shipping costs, causing delays and disrupting supply chains. How are oil and commodity prices reacting to this instability?
I do think that we can see that this level of sophistication and complexity is something that we haven't seen before from the Houthis. It's a major deterrent to companies trying to transport goods. The major industries that are really impacted are retailers, manufacturers, and logistics firms. In particular, going through the Red Sea. So, those are the industries that are really particularly have high inventory going through that region. That region once saw upwards of $1 trillion a year of goods going through it. And so this major deterrent and this new highly sophisticated type of attack is really going to force companies of all various sectors and industries to go through a different route, meaning going all the way around the Cape of Good Hope, all the way around Africa. That's a much longer route. It's more expensive. It takes more time. And ultimately, consumers, whether they be in Asia and Europe, and the ripple effect, American consumers will feel the impact on their wallets.
Are we feeling that yet, or is it going to take some more time in order for us to really, feel the heat? I mean, we've got tariffs too that are coming down the pipe. I mean, I feel like we're getting hit from all directions here.
I think that everyone is feeling it, whether it's the tariffs in combination with, what's going on in the Red Sea, what's going on in the Suez Canal. You're going to see an impact, a ripple effect, and people, whether they feel it right now or not, they are going to feel it, and they feel the intensity of the weight of the tariffs in all of these conflicts when it comes to the price of consumer goods.
Yeah. Okay. So Jessica, what has been the United States' response to all of this? How has the Trump administration approached these attacks?
So, you mentioned in the offset, it's been a few months of maybe peace and stability. And I'm like, has it really? I mean, our ceasefire deal was in May, which is like, 2 months ago. And our strikes on the Houthis that began during, when the Trump administration kicked off were meant to send a clear signal that we're not going to take this, that we're going to degrade them. They're not going to be capable of attacking these ships, right? That, if we forget, that was actually the start of Signalgate, was based on attacks on the Houthis. This is how far back, I put that in air quotes, it goes. But it didn't really work. I mean, obviously there's been a lull, but to Bishop's point, their lifeline and their supply chain supply resources with Iran has obviously kept up because they've continued these attacks. There were 2 other sink shippings. These aren't the only ones that have occurred. Just the latest to kind of hit the headlines. And the U.S. doesn't really have a lot of great options. We tried a massive strike. That didn't work. Obviously, Bishop mentioned the attacks on Iran. We're kind of hoping perhaps that Iran is too busy dealing with the fallout from those attacks to continue supporting the Houthis to the level they have previously. And so we might actually see a surge in attacks from the Houthis in the meantime, when they kind of put out the last blowout that they have with their resources. The EU has also started a new mission in the Red Sea, but clearly that it just doesn't have the coverage needed to be able to stop all of these strikes by the Houthis. So the U.S. is left with not a lot of great options. And as much as I think, a lot of folks in the Trump administration talk about kind of maybe disengaging from the region, we're not able to do that. Clearly, we're only a few months into the second term here, and we're fully engaged. And this small and, to Bishop's point, kind of really resource-strapped entity, the Houthis, are really able to take a hit on U.S. credibility, and we haven't been able to stop them.
Yeah, no, I mean, Jessica, to your point, I mean, I know connectivity may not be great in Yemen, but they clearly didn't get the message that Iran is on the back foot here. No one likes Iran. They are a weakened Middle Eastern power at this point, and they are in no place to be directing the Houthis, of all terrorist groups, to continue attacking, Western targets. I think that the Houthis really need, well, excuse me, let me back up. I think the Trump administration really needs to take a proactive approach in countering the Houthis at this point. There needs to be a message sent to Iran that they need to stop supporting these proxy groups. Otherwise, there will be repercussions. This is directly impacting U.S. national security interests. And while the Houthis, I would say are more of an annoyance for U.S. national security in the Red Sea right now, it's nevertheless soaking up a lot of resources. And we need to be able to put a stop to this. And
I could add 2 more, and you're going to look at escalation. You're going to see escalation, I should say. Like they're already, as we mentioned, using improvised explosive devices on small boats and ships now, and they're going to try to do more. And Iran might become desperate themselves and try to let them do more. So
what has the White House done? Like, they put out a statement saying we don't condone this, basically, and then slap some sanctions on some Oman, Oman.
Gotta figure out something.
A month ago.
I mean,
that's the response.
You're going to have more loss of life out there. Something has to.
And I think, Bishop, that is a really good point, is that we are talking about lives, whether it's American or, the Philippines or whoever, that are crewing these ships. We are seeing a loss of life. We are seeing trade impacted, as Elgene said. And so I think Iran really does need to feel the repercussions. They clearly haven't gotten the message either, that the shenanigans are not going to work, and that there will be a response from this. And so I encourage the Trump administration to send that message loud and clear and back it up. Back it up.
Never heard you take that stance, Morgan.
No, never. So that's a new one for me. That is a wrap. Thanks as always to Taylor Lane, Kelly Crowley, Natalie Verma, and Claude Jennings, and the NSI staff for their help in producing today's episode. Join us on Monday, Bastille Day, July 14th, for another episode of Fault Lines, the National Security Institute's podcast that gets you smart, fast on the national security and foreign policy debates shaking up America. Vive l'America. Fault Lines is now on YouTube, so check out our channel for a day of today's episode. If you like what you heard or saw, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.